Just a reminder, stay on the right side of the barriers and get your designated for it.
Okay.
Through this door here.
Okay.
Top here. There are restrooms down the center aisle and straight back. You want more than one map?
We should be fine with one. All right, thank you. You see that door? Okay.
Okay, so we're here at the Mid-America Air Museum, and one of the reasons why the Mid-America Air Museum is here and why this entire complex is here is because in World War II, this was a Army Air Corps base, and it was where they trained bomber crews before they headed off to the war. And so that's one of the reasons why this whole area is out here and why it has such a military look to it.
What is this a representation of here? Come, try to be a little bit closer to us, buddy. Okay, there you go. Okay, good. Is this just like a barracks or like?
Yeah, I would assume that that's, let me get a little better view, but
okay.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. This is just a representation of a barracks room. Yeah.
And then when we were walking in, I asked you if this is a Morton building, but are Morton buildings like?
Well, it's there are a lot of different manufacturers that make
Morton's
Morton
a
buildings.
manufacturer, right?
Yeah, Morton's just a brand name.
But is this
But
style
yes,
of
it's that style of building? Yes.
Is this style of building? Do you think it was mainly started for like aircrafts and stuff? So it's
I believe
big?
this particular building was a hangar. Okay. Originally, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was. Yeah.
Tell me what you know about this plane right here, man.
Well, I'm going to have to read about this plane.
Okay.
I assume it's a trainer.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You can get a shot of the plane over here. Come on, stand over here.
PT-22 Recruit, says the Ryan PT-22 Recruit. Like I thought, it's a training craft. Okay, so this would be what pilots learn to fly in. All right. Like a lot of the World War II aircraft that you're going to see today, it has a rotary engine here. Okay. You'll see that in a lot of the World War II aircraft. But yeah, this is what pilots use to learn to fly.
You might not know the answer to this, but like, so this is back when well, there's still some planes that are made without like an enclosed cockpit.
Without a cannon, yeah. Right.
What limitations do you have where you don't have like an enclosed area that's controlled with pressures and stuff?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you're very limited on how high you can fly because you don't have pressure controls and all that kind of thing. Now, I suppose you could still wear an oxygen mask, but I'm guessing they did not, because they did not fly high enough to need them with this plane. But
so this is like no weaponry, nothing, just basically.
Yeah, this is just for training.
Tube and wings.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I'm guessing like.
Okay, this is a Huey.
A Healy?
Huey.
Huey, okay.
Huey comes from the UH-1. It's a Bell UH-1. Okay, this particular configuration is an Iroquois. This was the workhorse of the Vietnam War. Okay, this was the main helicopter flown in Vietnam. Now, there were other helicopters flown, but this was the main one. These things did everything from medevac to troop carriers to gunships. They outfitted them all kinds of different ways. Okay, but this was the workhorse for U.S. forces in Vietnam.
Was it so? Like when I think of Vietnam, I wasn't there, but when I think of Vietnam, the image that comes in my mind is the helicopters coming down to get injured people out of there. Yeah. Is this what they would send in?
This would have been used for a medevac.
Okay.
It also would have been used to transport troops in and out.
Yeah.
It then could also be outfitted with rockets and guns and become a gunship.
Yeah.
Okay. The actual attack helicopter in Vietnam is right next door here, the Cobra.
Okay.
Okay. And right here, you can actually climb up there and climb into the cockpit.
Doc, you want to go climb into the cockpit?
According to this is the Paseki HUP Retriever. It was a naval rescue helicopter used by both the Army and the Navy. It had two primary missions, search and rescue, and as a plane guard. For both of these missions, the HUP was often stationed on carriers, either to launch search missions or as a plane guard to retrieve air crews that were forced to abandon their craft. The Retriever had two major variations. The first, the HUP-3 Retriever, was the first helicopter to be equipped with an autopilot. However, this feature led to accidents and was disabled. A sub-variant, the HUP-2S, was designed with sonar for use in anti-submarine operations. The museum's Retriever is a HUP-3. This variant was used to ferry astronaut John Glenn from a Navy destroyer to an aircraft carrier following the Mercury Atlas 6 missions.
And a railroad yard. We were fortunate in getting to the anti-aircraft and reaching our #1 target. We dropped the...
There's a Comanche nonstop Africa to Los Angeles. Talk about this airplane a little bit.
Yeah, this is you can see there the pilot's Max Conrad, and he's who set these world distance records. 3 different world distance records. World record #1, you can see right here, distance in a straight line. In 59, he flew from Casablanca, Morocco to Los Angeles, California. That's 7,668 miles. Also in 59, but a little later in 59, from Casablanca, Morocco to El Paso, Texas. And then I can't read world record #3 back there. It's probably here on one of these.
You see, it looks like distance. I can't read it either. Yeah, but it's this actual plane, though, that did all this stuff.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And is this just like some rich guy from Texas that had a plane? Like 1958. Oh, so this is released in 1958.
The plane itself.
It moved away from traditional Piper design choices until the late 50s. Most Piper planes were an evolution of their popular pipe and fabric club that emphasized the simplicity and performance. Models like the Comanche, however, featured an entirely metal design, retractable landing gear, and a focus on interior comfort not seen in Cub-derived Pipers.
And you can see, looking in the cab there, how this one's been modified.
Yeah.
I assume those are extra fuel tanks.
Yeah.
So
he can just go further.
Yeah.
It looks comfy. Like, it does look like, if you look at it like an automobile, it does look more comfy than the first plane we looked at.
Yeah.
They didn't even it gave you a kind of a windshield.
Yeah. But I would think most pilots, that would make them a little nervous sitting with those fuel tanks stacked all around them like that. Okay, this is a B-25 bomber. You can see one of the turrets up there, right? Those were to protect the bomber from the fighters that would invariably come to shoot them down. This is not a big bomber. It doesn't have some of the turrets that others do. Okay, it says this was one of the most important medium bombers of World War II. The basic structure of the B-25 stayed the same throughout the war, but several variants experimented with armament, place of production, and design. The B-25's biggest claim to fame comes from the Doolittle raid. So it would be planes like this that actually launched off of carriers to become the first bombers. This is what the Doolittle raid was, the first bombers to drop bombs on mainland Japan. They launched them from carriers. They flew all the way to Japan to drop bombs on Japan, and then ditched in the ocean off the coast of China because they didn't have enough fuel to get back. Okay? And obviously it was done more for a psychological victory than for a military victory, but that's what the Doolittle raid was. But there would have been waist gunners here. There would have been a gun here where this window is. And then you can see a tail gun back here. And where the tail gunner could see out. And all those were designed again to help protect the bomber from fighters that would invariably come and try to shoot them down.
Question again, you might not know. Do you think with the amount of velocity that happens in these machines, do you think CTE, concussions that may not have even been, like, do you think concussions might have happened with people that didn't even know it because of the jostling from firing around or something?
If you got into bad turbulence, maybe, but I don't know.
It looks like an amazing piece of machinery, but it doesn't look like it would be the smoothest ride.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
And, you know, the rates of attrition among bomber crews were horrendous, you know. I mean, these things got shot down all the time, you know. So, yeah. And here's two more craft very important to our World War II effort. This is a F-4U Corsair, which was the Marines, one of the Marines' primary fighter planes. These things didn't fly off of carriers a whole lot. They flew off of islands. These were island hoppers. I mean, they were capable of flying off of carriers, but the Marines tended to do more flying them from airstrips on islands as they island hopped toward Japan. And this here is a TBM, a torpedo bomber.
Are the wings folded? Like
the wings are folded.
Okay.
That's the way they kept them on the deck of the aircraft carrier to take up less room on the deck. If I remember right, the first President Bush, HW, flew one of these in World War II. The Japanese had kind of a cool nickname for this plane, and they called it Whistling Death. And it's one of those things you probably wouldn't understand why, but if you go to YouTube and Google and search it on YouTube, there are audio recordings of these things in an attack dive, and they do have kind of a distinct whistle to them, which is why the Japanese referred to them as Whistling Death. All right, so this is another home-built aircraft here. This is called the RLU-1 Breezy. It's a home-built aircraft first introduced in 1965, attempting to return to the basics of flying. Pilots Carl Unger, Robert Leposki, and Charles Roloff built Breezy with an open structure. After initially failing to build a gyrocopter, the three creators were soon inspired to create an aircraft that was safe and stable, but had no cockpit or traditional cover. The result, Breezy, didn't look like much, but was fun and easy to fly. And I can remember when I was a kid, they were even less complicated than this.
Yeah.
I can remember some guys around Hugoton where I grew up, they had aircraft that were basically, if I remember right, almost like a hang glider with a seat and an engine slung underneath, kind of like this, that they would fly. They would, ultralights is what they called them, but you know, this is where it started, was with things like this.
Like, no, like, again, the fact that people got this thing to fly is amazing, but yeah. I don't know how old, you know, like the old Pippi Longstocking movie?
Oh, by the way, there's one of those ultralights I was talking about right above it. Yeah.
You know the Pippi Longstocking movie where they build the airplane in the shed?
Yeah.
Theirs was nicer than this.
Yeah.
Like, this looks like somebody got like a lawnmower, maybe like an old sprinkler like system that was broken down for a field. And they're like, I think I can get us in the air, which is really a testament to like, but like you look at the steering wheel, like it's for the ocean.
Yeah.
Like this thing is crazy.
Okay. So this is the Subsonics JX2 jet. This was a kit, sold as a kit that you could build yourself so that, you know, people could own their own personal jet, which is a little crazy to me. But yeah, and this was Somebody built this and donated it. Ken Hallra of Fairmount, Oklahoma, it says. So this was donated to the museum.
It says it's landed in 5 different states and at 49 different airports. It's been displayed at air shows.
Yeah.
It's not huge.
No, it is.
It's a little bit
tiny.
longer than like an old Oldsmobile or something.
Yeah. It is tiny.
Yeah. I don't like how we don't have a nice connection where it closes, you know? Kind of like some of these Tesla videos coming out.
Yeah.
Okay,
so yeah, let's take a look at this one over here, Race.
Okay.
Okay, so a little bit ago, remember how they were talking about pole and cloth designs? Look closely at the wings of this. Those wings are made out of cloth. It's a wood structure with cloth stretched across it. Okay? Very little metal on this thing.
The propeller does not give me a lot of face.
No, the propeller's wood. Most of it is cloth, like I said, stretched over a wood subframe. And this is the way early aircraft were built.
Let me ask you this, and I know you don't know the answer, but I like how your brain works, maybe getting there. Obvious bad idea. Was this used because we didn't know the kind of materials we have?
It was all about weight.
Weight, okay.
Okay, that's why they were built this way. And the wood often was balsa wood or other light woods.
Okay.
So it was all about weight. You know, you got to remember the Wright brothers' first flight was what, about 300 feet?
Mm-hmm.
Not even a football field.
No.
Okay. And it was all about weight. And so while aircraft developed really rapidly after that, this is the first stage.
Yeah.
You know?
So it says it's a scout plane. What does a scout plane do all day?
Scout plane looks for the enemy.
Okay.
Spots where the enemy is. And you
but
can
not
see,
typically firing rounds from this
well,
thing?
you can see they've got a machine gun mount
Okay.
up there. I'm sure that's a fake.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it did have some capability to fire, but that was not its primary purpose.
Yeah.
Its primary purpose was reconnaissance, not combat.
Early drone, I guess, is what you'd say.
Well, except drone means unmanned.
But I mean, like same idea.
Yeah,
getting up in the air.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I mean, you know, they used hot air balloons in the Civil War to do the same thing sometimes. So yeah.
Vantage point. All right.
Yeah.